Pierre. I see half of you, Pierre. The light over my head isn't doing anybody any good. Now it's too dark in here. None of this gets any better, does it? Well, no, I don't have Pierre anymore. Pierre ahead. Okay, well, should anybody be watching this, we're going to switch to desktop mode and share my screen. I'm going to present to everyone. Pierre, I had you for a moment. So, anybody who's just joining us early in this process, I'm going to suggest that you fast forward until it gets to the useful part. Because in the meantime, I'm going to try and get Pierre joined back up here and see what happens. Pierre, I'm going to just try this again, buddy. I don't know what happened. I could hear you fine. Well, here, that's not a good idea. He's talking to nobody. Do you want another invite, Peter? Oh, I see you. I see you. I see you. Sure. Any chance you hear me, Pierre?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do. I hear you just fine.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Are you sharing JOSM right now?
I am.
Okay, that's your screen. Okay, I wasn't sure because I've got JOSM open as well, so I wasn't sure. Hey, I sorry to bother you. I was listening to your Hangout the other day, and thought it was really useful. Really want to thank you for that. And I had a few questions for you, and I don't know if you would have a few minutes to spare.
I do.
Should I just shoot?
Yeah, let it go.
All right, all right. So you were showing in your Hangout the hot validation, and in my JOSM when I do a validation, I do see some a different layout than the one that you were sharing. I was wondering whether you had a special layout you had defined, or where did you get that layout with the red triangles?
So do you have this map paint styles? Map paint styles is what controls this. Do you see on my screen over here, I have a little panel up that says map paint styles?
Yeah, that's exactly what I have. So what I see there is you got something called hot validate, and I was not able to find that. So is that something you defined yourself, or?
Oh, let's look and see. I thought I got it. So I'm going to edit preferences, and this is the map settings. This in Windows here, this grid square thing is map settings. And here we have a map paint styles tab. And so So I don't see hot validate in here. So over here, this tells me that I get hot validate from this URL, GitHub disasternet.org hot OSM validation archive master.zip. And I think I can copy this and put it in the text chat. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. And what happens? Okay, yeah, great. So you can put a URL in here. So you see, do you see this dialog window that says preferences, Pierre?
Yeah.
You do, okay. Because sometimes you don't see this because it's a Java versus Java argument. But you'll see there's a plus symbol here. And when I click on the plus symbol, it brings up another dialog box that lets me name it. So I can name it whatever I want to name it. And then it takes a file or URL. So I just put in this URL. So I'm going to put the URL in the Hangout. There's a text chat. You should see perhaps on the right-hand side of the screen, there might be a window open or a column. On the left-hand side of your Google Hangout window, up at the very top is an icon. The top one is a blue icon that says chat, which for me opens and closes the text chat on the right.
Okay, so I do see that, but I don't. Maybe I've got too many windows open. So I got that blue chat. Yeah, okay, got it. And that's the URL. So it says master zip at the end of it. Is that it?
Yeah. Yep, that's it. So you can right click on that and choose copy link location.
Let me try to do that just now. So I'll go back in JASM, and then I do edit preferences, map paint style plus, and then I call it hot validate, and then I just copy the URL, which finishes with master zip. Or should I unzip that file, or?
No, just stick that URL in there. It should work for you.
Okay. I'll just click OK, and here I got it. Fantastic. Oh, this is great. This is great because it really helps the validation process.
It does. I edited mine. It's not on this copy of JASM, but I did end up opening it up. I saved, because you can just save a local file. It's just a text file.
Yeah. And
you can edit it yourself and then go through that same process and just point to the local file instead of one of these URLs.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Listen, the another question I had. So when you get to when you get a task or a tile on hot, and then you download the Bing imagery, and then when you map the edges of that tile, sometimes there are buildings or roads which are just at the border of that tile. So what I've been doing is selecting the edges and downloading that piece from Bing in order to finish the map of the building. Am I doing it correctly?
Yeah, that sounds correctly. Let me just let me get a tile square open here and see. So can you see that I have a tile square in my JASM now?
Yeah, I see that. I see that. So my case is when you're at the edge of that, exactly, and when there's a building at that edge.
Imagery here. Map box. Okay, so map box.
So let's assume that you got a building that you need to map at that edge, but you don't have the. So what I've been doing is trying to get the.
I mean, even right here, we see this situation where somebody mapped right to the edge of this box.
Exactly. So what I would do there is press the green down arrow on the top left, in order to download the rest of the Bing imagery for that border edge. And I'm not sure whether I'm doing this correctly or not.
No, you are. You're downloading the OSM data. Now, the Bing imagery is already here. You're downloading the data from OpenStreetMap.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, you should always be mapping. So let me change what I'm doing with my Hangouts here. I don't know what I just did. Okay, now it's back to my forehead. That's great. And let me just do my full screen. Okay, and now it gets a little crazy. But when you check something out of the tasking manager, can you see my tasking manager?
Yeah.
So I have this task, this square right here in the middle. You always want to make sure you're checking out a square that doesn't have anybody working next to it.
Yeah, I got that.
Because you should be mapping all the way, some 10 meters all the way around the outside edge. You should be mapping into everybody's next square.
Right.
That's the exact way to do it. And,
okay.
How you do it is up to you. But absolutely feel free to map. You should be mapping, like this is good. You can see about how far this person mapped into the neighboring square.
Yeah.
That's about right. You should always try and overlap the edges. And you can map a building that crosses it, or even a building that's just inside of there.
But before I do that, I should download the
I'd say so.
The OSM data.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'd absolutely say so. If there's nothing there, if there hasn't been anything there, absolutely download the OSM data first.
Okay. Then
do you have GeoChat? Do you have the GeoChat plugin installed, Pierre?
Yeah, I got the GeoChat. So I heard that from you in the Hangouts, and I installed it afterwards. And it's I haven't used it yet, but I can see cases where I could be using it. So
do you have that? Do you see on mine here where I just right-clicked in this? This is my GeoChat plug. Whoops.
Yeah.
And I right-click in there and I select Show Users on Map.
Yeah.
Make sure you check that box.
Okay.
So that you see, I don't see you on here, but it says you're nearby.
Yeah, I see you in my GeoChat user.
Oh, now you see me?
I do see you. It says user BGRDO is mapping nearby.
Well, but you don't see my circle.
I see a green dot.
Actually, no, that's just these joined. But on yours, if you were looking at yours, so do you know how to share a location with JASM?
Yeah, well, you've mentioned that it's you got to go bottom left and click there on it, and then it opens a window and you have the URL that will be the center of the tile that you're mapping, right?
Yeah. Do you want to give that a try?
Yes.
You want to send it to me? Do you want to put it in the Google Hangouts chat?
Okay, let me URL. So I'll just copy the URL, and then in the Hangouts, let's see where.
Down at the bottom, it says enter chat message link here. Enter chat.
Yeah, got it. There we go.
Okay. So I'm going to copy that link location. I'm going to go to my JASM. I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to paste. I'm going to jump. Oh, there you go. See?
I got it.
So now you see your circle, and maybe you see my circle.
Oh, yeah, I see your circle.
Aha.
Okay, great. And then what? So that would indicate that you're in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could double click to start a chat, or how would that work?
The chat's pretty bad, honestly. The chat for GeoChat, it actually interferes with, like, if you type, the keyboard shortcuts for JASM. I don't chat much with GeoChat. It's mostly for, like, we're already doing voice chat, like Mumble or IRC or something. And then, I would come and get you, and I would say, I would come over here. Let's see. Unfortunately, this is all bad imagery. Let me just, so here, I have Bing imagery is pretty good right here. So I would come over here and I would say, can you tell what this is, Pierre? Come and look where I'm standing.
And you would do that in the chat, or you would do that?
Just like right now, like we're doing it right now. We might be on Mumble or Skype or IRC, but I would, can you come over and stand where I am? Can you see where my dot is, my circle?
I see where your circle is.
Yeah. And you see the feature that I'm standing on right here?
I see the feature. Yeah, yeah. So
Sometimes,
there, however, mine is there are some stripes on my image, so I would download the map from OSM server for that place. Let me download it, and here, yeah, there you go. Okay.
I didn't download the data. So you see what I'm talking about here, this long thing with the shadow?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see that.
Right. So that's how you use GeoChat. You know what I mean? And we do this all the time. We don't do this all the time. We have done this in the past, and it's worked out pretty well. We're like, I'm working with another mapping coordinator, and we're getting ready to do mapping in an area, and we just wander around together.
Okay.
And say, oh, this looks pretty easy. You know, if you come up here, these buildings are pretty well spaced out. You know, I just turn off up here on my data layer. I just turn off the data layer so I don't have the stripes anymore.
Oh.
Because I'm not doing any mapping. I'm just exploring.
All right. All right. That's.
So this is what we might do. We might just walk around together and say, yeah, this, you know, this is interesting. This looks pretty easy to map. Okay. Must be some elevation here because these roads are doing switchbacks. But that's how the GeoChat plugin is super useful. Asking somebody to look at something. What do you think this building is?
But you would use GeoChat to do exactly that, but you wouldn't use it to actually chat.
Not really.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
I would do it via Mumble. Normally we're on the Mumble server, which is voice, just like this.
So I've got 3 other questions. Let me get to the next one. When you're adding a bridge on a path, would you want to stop the path mapping before you map the bridge, or do you map the bridge on top of the path?
I don't, I mean, when I map a bridge, can you see you want me to, I'll just map, I mean, I'll just do it right here, even though this is nothing. So where's my square? Where's my task square? Okay, so I'm coming over here to the southeast and going back to my loaded square.
Yep.
But I don't have any good, none of this is good imagery. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to turn on Mapbox. So, I mean, the way that I map a bridge, I don't have any place. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to, whoops, Mapbox. So do you see this white stripe in the middle of my?
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend that's a bridge.
Okay.
I'm going to pretend that a path comes up to this end of it, then there's a bridge, then a path goes to the other end.
All right.
So if I were mapping, I would have my A key, my add tool, and I would be mapping, and I would put a node right at the end of my bridge, and then I would stretch it for the length of the bridge. I'm not going to join it to the river. And then I'd put another node, and then I'd carry on mapping.
Okay.
Okay. And then when I was done with this path, I would come back here, and I would select this node, and then I would shift select the next node.
Okay.
And I would select those 2 nodes, and then I would come up to tools, and I would say split.
Okay. All right. So
then, you know, here I would add my tags, which is Alt A. And I would say, you know, it was already highway equals path. And then I would go ahead and add, you know, to me, I just do bridge equals yes, because I'm not, I don't know how to identify the bridge type. And then layer equals 1.
So you use Alt A actually to enter the tags.
Yeah.
What I've been using is the presets, and then I will scroll down to, you know, whatever man-made, for example, then bridge, and then enter bridge.
Either way. I mean, JAWSM is pretty good.
Alt A actually gets you there faster.
Yeah, Alt A is going to get you there faster.
So the bottom line is you actually qualifying that bridge as a path and a bridge. So you're adding those 2 tags on them.
Yeah, it's all the same way. You know, technically it's all the same thing. So, and the nice part of it is Alt Add. You know, you can see here maybe in mine, it keeps your recently added tags.
Yeah.
And I can set this to be 20, and I usually do set it to 20.
Right.
So my list is usually quite long.
Okay.
But even this dialog box is not too bad if you already have an idea. Like I know that these are going to be highway. So a lot of times it actually works quite nice and will auto-complete what you're filling in. But it will keep a list of the, I can click there and just see a list of all the key values I could put in. I don't know. I mean, after you've done it for a while, Alt-A, and especially if you've already tagged it recently, it's going to have it right in here and you just double click on it. That's just the way I work. I use presets primarily for the stuff that I don't know. And that's when I go to search and I use the search presets, so I might be searching for like a fire hydrant or something.
Yeah.
Well, fire hydrant's not a good choice, I guess, but I do come and search the presets when it's something that I hardly ever map. But for the stuff I map all the time, I just do Alt-A.
Yeah, that works.
Tags. And a lot of times they stack up here, so I never even have to type it again.
So I've on JASM I've personalized the top bar menu, which I see you haven't done. So is that something that you don't use so much? So where you have the car and the bus and the and I guess the castle, the top bar menu. There I've put path and I've kind of personalized that, so I found that quite useful. But you prefer to go through Alt-A and just write your own.
Almost all the stuff I do, I just do via Alt-A, and that's not good or bad. It's just the way I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I have in the past. This is my desktop. This is my laptop machine, so it's not the one that I map on constantly. On the one that I do map on constantly, I have created some of my own presets, and then put them on this menu bar. Put them up here on my bar, so that I could use them with just a click.
Okay.
Because the other thing you can do is, if I add a point here, I'm just going to add one single node. The other thing you can do is you can right click and say edit shortcut, and then you can give it a keyboard shortcut. So I've done that before too, where I just want, and this is the only way I know how to do it. There might be an easier way, but I created a preset, put it on my toolbar, and then right clicked and said edit shortcut, so that then I could give it a keyboard shortcut.
Yeah.
So I've done that, like when I'm going through and having to change a lot of tags. I just had to change 2,200 tags on landing sites, and I didn't feel like typing or going through a menu, so it was select it and hit a keyboard combination and automatically get the right tags on it and then move on. So I've done that before too. I purposely put things on my menu, on my toolbar here, just so I could right click and say edit shortcut, because that's the only way I know to get to that.
So edit short. Oh, okay, I got it. Edit shortcut. Okay, got it. I've read that the images are not always aligned, the Bing and the Mapbox, and that there's a way in JASM to actually realign the imagery.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you do that?
I just picked such a bad area for this because all I have is Mapbox imagery. But all you do is, so over here you can see I have my list of imagery up.
Yeah.
And I only have Mapbox and Bing. And I kind of blinked, so I can see these kind of look a little off to me anyway. I don't know if you can see, this looks like this ridge line here, or whatever it is. I guess it's a valley because it's got a river in it. But just guessing, it looks a little off to me. I don't know. This is Landsat. Really, when Bing is zoomed in is when we use that kind of as the reference. But it sure looks like something's not quite aligned there. What's this look like? Yeah, so I mean, you can kind of see the shift, right?
Yeah.
It seems to shift to the southeast when I switch between them.
So what would you do? Would you adjust then the imagery of Bing or Mapbox to, or not?
Generally, the guideline is always aligned to Bing.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't hear somebody's already mapped to Mapbox, and this is what you run into all the time. Well, now what do I do? But this is how I would align them. Normally you're doing it zoomed in on actual paths because they're both, I can zoom both of them in. So I can't zoom Bing in because Bing just doesn't have the high res. So this is not a real world example. Let me see.
So would you adjust Mapbox? Would you move Mapbox, the Mapbox imagery in that case, or?
I would starting. It's kind of a, let me just see if I can find some place that might be a better example here. And I'm going to turn off my data layer.
So I understand Bing is the reference, but are we expected as mappers to move the imagery so that we can continue mapping?
Well, I mean, you got to look and see what's mapped. So let me just download this material here. Let me just download this material here. And I can just download it on this layer. That's fine. Oh, and there's nothing mapped here. Is that true? Or no, I have my data layer turned off. Okay. So this is already mapped. This is mapped to Bing. Okay, and what's Mapbox look like here? Mapbox looks cloudy. Okay, so again, not a great example. But generally, yeah, you want to map to Bing. And so I'm not finding a good example of what to do if they're off. That's the hard part. Like if you're coming to a square that has nothing mapped, then it's no big deal. You can align your imagery and then you can start mapping. The place where everybody gets confused is what to do when it's half mapped with one alignment and half mapped with the other alignment. That's what gets confusing. So I still haven't found a good place. So
is there a process to then move the Mapbox imagery, or we're not supposed to do that?
You're absolutely supposed to do it. You are absolutely supposed to align your imagery.
So then how do you do it?
Okay, so I'll show you how to do it. And here's not a bad example, although this is already pretty well aligned. Do you see me switching back and forth?
Yeah.
These are already pretty well aligned. But this is how you do it. How you do it is, I'm just going to create a new layer. And I'm just going to turn off that layer. So if this was, I just first came here, and so I'm going to, so now I'm looking. Okay, now my Mapbox is off. Because I'm looking at a feature. I'm trying to find a feature that I can use for my alignment. And I'm going to use this, looks like a riverbed maybe here. And I can see that Mapbox jumps that riverbed over. So these are not aligned. But I want to align it to Bing. So what I would do is I would come in here and I'd get on the imagery that's my reference, which is Bing, and I would draw in a feature as exactly as I could. And then I would switch back to the Mapbox satellite imagery. And now I can see that here's my feature that I drew, and I'm way off. So you come up to this button right here, which is a map with 4 arrows on it.
And it says new offset.
Yeah, and it gives me the choice of which one I want to adjust. So I'm going to adjust Mapbox. And then you usually have to move the box out of the way. And now it's just a regular left click.
How did you do that? I'm sorry, because
out of the way. I grabbed it up here in the title bar.
Okay, so you click on that green box. Okay.
It's green for you. This is blue for me.
No, blue, but the
Oh yes, right. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I came up here and I said I want to adjust Mapbox. And then
so how did you get to Mapbox? You need to right click on that green box, or
it's a left click.
Well, when I left click
on it, menu.
Oh, that's because I only have Bing downloaded.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So let me just.
Good for you. Good catch.
Let me just have that second layer Mapbox. Okay, then I click there. Okay, and then it says, is it MapQuest? I downloaded MapQuest, but MapQuest or Bing that you want to adjust. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
So you pick the one that you. So I'm adjusting Mapbox. So I'm going to select Mapbox satellite.
Getting that.
And then, like I said, I usually have to move the dialog box out of the way.
Got it.
And then it's just a regular right click and you're just dragging it. So now I'll line it up with what I just mapped. You know, I'll get it lined up just the way I just mapped it. And then I say, okay. And now in theory, now in theory, it's pretty close to aligned.
Oh, I've just done that, but if I do Control Z or undo, it doesn't go back.
It might not. I mean, you could always come back to this green square and open back up Mapbox Satellite, and you could just type in 0:0 here if you wanted to reset it to 0:0. And then it'll just jump it back to whatever 0:0 is.
Okay. Got it. Great.
And so, but now another thing that you can do is, if we're doing this, as long as we're talking about alignment, if you want to be super amazing, let's see here. Okay, Pierre, let's see. I don't know how well this is going to work because I don't know where I am on the planet here. This only works in good places, you know, like this looks like Kathmandu. So it is a lot easier to do this in places like Kathmandu. But I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say, you should probably install the plugin download from Mirror eventually. The Mirror download plugin gives you a lot more functionality than the regular download plugin. But let's see what happens here. I'm sure this is going to error out on me. But I'm going to say download. I'm going to do it on a new layer. And see up here where it says raw GPS data?
Yeah.
If I select raw GPS data, now it's going to download all the GPS tracks that people have uploaded in this area as well. So you can see 15,000. I don't know if you're seeing this, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay. And then I got an error that said it's too much data to download.
Right.
So.
And you can only do that from the Mirror, from the download Mirror.
No, I can do that I just did that from the regular OpenStreetMap plugin.
But what does the Mirror download bring you?
I'll show you what it brings me a couple of things, but the place it helps me right here, first of all, it's weird. I can't now, can you see my dialog box that I have up?
Yes.
I can't check or uncheck raw GPS. It gets it from this is the Mirror download. I went to File, Download from OSM Mirror. And these get set from the regular download. I don't know why I can't edit them here. Download as new layer is still correct. The big advantage to download from Mirror is it won't error out.
Okay.
This will let me download a vast quantity of data that the regular download plugin would never let me download.
And that's I'm in the plugin now, and it's the plugin is called Mirrored Download. Is that the one, or?
Yeah, that's the one. And you can see it didn't even, you'd never be able, I have the wrong. You'd never be able to download that much data. As a matter of fact, it kind of grinds my machine to a halt. There.
Fantastic. I got it now. Great.
But I still haven't gotten the whole point of this, which is to, I guess I need to go to the regular download from OSM, uncheck OpenStreetMap data, uncheck new layer, and just see if I can get the raw GPS data.
Oh, there are loads on. You're taking a big area.
I don't see my GPS data. Oh, I guess I do see it. It's just impossible to see. Yeah, interesting. So, can you see my GPS data?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so this is what I can do. I can click on if you're watching my screen, do you see my layer that says downloaded GPX data?
Yes.
I can right click on that and choose customize color. Right. That's why it doesn't look like what I'm used to. And I'm going to make that layer yellow. And so now when I look at my Bing imagery, I can see my yellow GPX data. That's normally how I have that.
Wow.
And this is what, this is really what you use for alignment. So when I'm trying to decide which one of these two, if I have two sets of imagery and I can't figure out which one is the right one to align it to, go someplace that it has GPS tracks and download them. And then you can see it's not perfect. I mean, these GPS tracks are pretty widely spread here, but it'll help you determine. Yeah. It'll help you determine which of your imagery is best aligned. This is not this, and you can see the Bing is pretty good.
Yeah.
It lines up pretty well with these GPX tracks. But this is how you determine which imagery is best lined up, by downloading the raw GPS traces and seeing how well they match up with the imagery. That's how you figure it out.
Right.
When somebody says to you, well, which one is better aligned? You say, well, download the GPS tracks and you tell me which one is better aligned.
Great. Great.
And if you can't do this, go with Bing. If you can't get this and you can't tell, then just use Bing as your reference wherever possible. But this is how you find out. You download the GPX traces and you look and you see which one best matches the GPX traces.
Fantastic.
And Mapbox usually isn't too bad either. You run into this more when there's like imagery for a particular task, because that imagery might not have been as aligned as well as the Bing or the Mapbox imagery.
That's great.
But downloading GPS tracks is the magic. There is also, I don't have it in here, there is also a, from these imagery preferences, you should have OpenCycleMap in your list. So the green ones, I went to the imagery menu, imagery preferences.
I got OpenCycle, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the other one that you want to add is the Strava cycling heat map.
Really? Okay.
You want to add that one, and you can add the running heat map if you want. But definitely download those two Strava layers, because the Strava layers are, so you can see all my GPX tracks here in Kathmandu Valley.
Yep.
I didn't download them for there. So the Strava, if I come up to imagery and I choose my Strava cycling heat map.
Oh, wow.
GPX. So this is also GPS traces collected from this company called Strava. And they let us use these also for imagery alignment.
Strava cycling and running. I got them. Yeah.
And so those will help you with alignment too. They also will help you find roads that you can't see in the imagery.
Yep.
So those are also good ones to work with, and can give you can see a lot of people like to bike along whatever this path is here on my screen.
And they capture GPX data with our
they're wearing like a wristband or something.
Oh, okay.
And it just gets fed into the Strava servers. Strava makes these available as a tile map, and we can use them for mapping.
Yeah,
but it also helps you with your alignment, or to figure out which imagery is best aligned.
Yeah.
And like I said, it helps find roads that you can't see for some reason. Okay, these I can all see. But like, for example, here, see where this, can you see on my screen, the road ends in the trees?
Yep.
And you don't know where it goes? Maybe. You can kind of tell where it goes. Yep. But Strava fills in Strava can fill in some, it only happens in these populated areas. You get out in the middle of Nepal.
Right.
And you're not going to have much. I mean, there's actually not too bad out here, frankly. But it can be very helpful to figure out, do these things really go through?
Yeah, you get stuck because those paths go under trees, and you can guess where they go to, but that's really helpful.
Yeah, so that's another good layer to use.
Hey Blake, the last question I had was if I work offline, so I travel and I take planes, and I want to kill the time on the plane and do some mapping. What happens when I reconnect and upload if somebody else has done the work on that tile? Because Hot will give me that tile for a couple of hours, and then I believe it's going to disconnect me. But let's say I'm on a plane, I'm mapping, and when I land, I just want to upload my maps. Is that going to conflict with somebody else's work, or what's the potential conflict there?
I mean, the conflict comes in when two people edit the same object that already exists in the OpenStreetMap database.
Yeah.
So the vast majority of conflicts are with roads, because roads stretch across sometimes when you're mapping a road, and you look over here in the selection panel, let's see, do I have downloaded data? Yeah. So when I am mapping a road, like this road here, and it's 157 nodes,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that in my panel here.
Yeah.
You know, that's a little on the long side. You kind of want to keep the length of roads to about 100 nodes. And that's to help avoid conflicts. It doesn't have much to do with your question, except roads are where you mostly get conflicts. Because if I'm mapping offline, okay, well, somebody didn't do a very good job mapping here. If I'm mapping offline and I map in all these buildings, and while I'm doing that offline, somebody else maps in all these buildings, when we upload them, there's not going to be a conflict, because the objects didn't already exist. They mapped them in brand new, you mapped them in brand new. So you're just going to end up with two buildings mapped on top of each other, but there won't be any conflict.
Okay.
The place where there would be a conflict is if you edited this road. If you said, oh, I'm going to make this a nice smooth curve, and I'm going to use my way tool, and I'm going to make this a nice smooth curve instead of the sharp curve that it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to make it follow that, so now it's nice and smooth instead of sharp. Now, if there's somebody else has added this road someplace, there'll be a conflict because I changed the road and they changed the road. And when I upload this, it's going to change the version number on the road. But just mapping buildings or outlining residential areas or forestry areas, no, you probably won't get a conflict. You'll just end up with two of them on the map.
Right. Right.
And that's kind of ugly, but you know, so what you would do is the right way to do that is you work offline on your square, and then you know you can have multiple data layers here. So you would just come back and download and say download as a new layer, and you would download whatever your area was, and now you can click and see. Did I download as a new layer? Oh, I didn't. Now you can click and see. Because I didn't get OpenStreetMap data. Download as a new layer. Okay, so now somewhere in here, yeah, I can't, now I don't know where that road was I edited. But you would be able to click on and off your layers to see where other people had added and you had added. And if somebody else mapped it while you were gone, just delete the ones they mapped in off of yours. Oh, hey, look, this is interesting. Hold on one second here. Oh, okay, great. Somebody got this. Helicopter landing pads are my thing, so somebody already mapped that one in. Right. So that's what you would do. You would map on your layer, your data layer 3, you'd map all day long. And then before you uploaded, you would just download again in the same area, and then you'd just kind of flip on and off and see.
Yeah, so you would download on the new layer. You would create a new layer, then download the data, and then switch on and off to see if there's any overlap. Right. Yeah, okay, cool.
That's all. And you can, I mean, and you can get, that's the way to do it. That's the way I would do it. You can merge layers, but whatever, it's fine. That might happen. I have a video on YouTube that's about how to merge layers, which is not for exactly the same scenario that you just came up with, but is for a similar scenario where I'm fixing other people's mapping so I know for sure that there's buildings there. And I want to map my own buildings because, these are not very square or whatever it is. That's another alignment issue you can do too. If you come in and most of these buildings are off alignment, by some set amount where it's clear that the background imagery was just in a different place, I tend to move the background imagery to match however it was mapped and then keep mapping. And then I don't even worry about what was right. It's just everything stays relative to it correct. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So if I came in and
it will affect the positioning of that map on that tile, or does it change the whole thing?
Well, so if I came in and I saw something like this and I was getting ready to map, can you see on my screen
Yeah.
how off all these buildings are
Yeah.
from the imagery? But they're kind of all off the same. So somebody mapped this with the imagery with a different offset, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to even care what the correct, there's enough of it here, okay? Boy, it looks like somebody, I don't know if those are buildings or trees, to be honest. Oops, oh, let me just turn that one up. That one's hard to tell. Some of those could just be trees. Anyhow, somebody, that's just a different offset. And I'm not even going to bother with what's right or wrong. I'm just going to fix the offset. I'm working on the Bing layer. I'm just going to take my Bing layer and I'm just going to move it until it matches what they mapped.
But then it moves the whole, just the tile imagery, or it moves the whole Bing in the whole area?
It moves the Bing all around the world, but only for me. This is only my display.
Oh, it's only for you.
It's only for me.
Okay.
That's all this. Anytime you're aligning background imagery, it's only for you.
So what it does, it seems like you're moving the imagery, but what you're doing is you're repositioning the layer to the Bing. So it's
well, I'm repositioning the layer to what's already been mapped in this.
Right.
But it's only for me. It doesn't affect anybody else. I could put the imagery this far off and save it, and I'm going to map wrong, but it doesn't affect anybody else.
Okay.
That the imagery has been moved in the background. This is only my background.
So it seems that you're moving the imagery, but what you're actually doing is you're moving the layer to the image.
I'm moving it to the already mapped data.
Right.
And then somebody else can figure out, so if I was coming in behind somebody and this was all off, I would move my background image to match what they had already mapped. And then I would carry on mapping so that at least everything in this area was relative to each other correct.
Okay.
And then somebody else can figure out if everything in this area is off, and they can figure out how to move it so that it's not off.
Gotcha.
But at least everything will be the same.
Okay.
So that's oftentimes, that's the hard decision. You'll come in and it'll look like somebody clearly mapped with the imagery off and you don't know what to do. Generally, what you do is move the background imagery to match what's already mapped, keep mapping, and let somebody else worry about how to get it exactly right. But at least everything will be in the right spot relative to each other. So they can just move 100 square kilometers of map data to match what they know is properly registered imagery.
Fantastic. Well, Blake, this is very, very useful. I really want to thank you for that.
Anytime. It's my pleasure. I'm glad to do it, and hopefully, like, seeing it. I don't know how well you see it. I didn't give you my tips for how to make it easier to see. Oh well, I hope I was presenting to you the whole time. Still getting used to Google Hangouts for this. So yeah, I'm glad. I hope it helps. I'm always glad to do it. Just gotta let me know.
No, thank you. I struggled initially. I started some weeks back to map, and the initial mapping I was doing, I realized was wrong. I was using the ID editor, and I was not mapping square buildings. And I've just posted a video on YouTube on how to map buildings on the ID editor, and I was thinking of doing some more of some of the things that I've been struggling with. Maybe you can have a look at it and tell me what you think. I was thinking of doing some short videos on simple things that are not always documented, or
yeah, it's helpful. I mean, yeah, I do those videos too to try and help. You saw Missing Maps is going to be doing like short 1 minute, try and do like 1.5 minute clips for how to do short individual tasks. I think they help. Little screencasts, I call them little screencasts.
That's the URL for the video. I'll do some more if I get positive feedback. Hey, by the way, on this Hangout, do you see my face or my video, or is it not turned on?
I see you have a static picture. You
Oh,
have
it's a
like,
standard picture. I don't know how to turn on the video though. How to,
I think I saw your video the first time you connected. I don't know how to turn on the static picture. Let's see this. There, now I turned on my static picture. So up at the top, there's a group of 6 icons,
yeah.
and
So
one
I
of them was a video camera that for me is now red. And now if I click on that, it turns black, and you should be seeing me eventually here. Yeah.
I'm not seeing you. Yeah.
Now you don't see my live video?
I see your live video now. Yes,
Okay.
but you don't see me live, huh?
I
That's
don't.
strange.
I did the first time you connected.
Yeah, that was with a different camera, so I've switched back to my computer camera, but very strange.
Yeah, I prefer the static picture for myself personally.
Anyways, like, thank you very much. It was very useful. I'm hoping I didn't disturb you in a busy day, but I'll keep on mapping.
It's a good break. I appreciate it. So I'm glad to do it anytime.
Where are you based?
I live in Zurich.
Oh, you're in Zurich. I thought you were in the U.S. Okay,
I'm from the U.S., but I live in Zurich.
I see. Okay.
And you're located where?
I'm in Oxford in the UK, but I'm Swiss actually. So.
Oh, you're Swiss.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Works out.
Well, thanks a lot. You have a good evening then.
Okay, thanks very much, Pierre, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.